There was an interesting thing missing this weekend. So obviously we're still, in early days after the killing of Charlie Kirk, and they held this prayer vigil on Sunday for him. And it was actually very well attended by prominent Republicans. Like every other aspect of the morning process, every prominent Republican is just nonstop talking about this and attending it and all that. But not Donald Trump. Interestingly, he was a no-show at the vigil, even though evidently it was in DC, and he, by Sunday night, was back in DC. He didn't go. Now, 85 members of Congress did, members of his administration did. So House Speaker Mike Johnson was there, RFK Jr. was there, Carolyn Leavitt was there, but not him. Now, he did do some stuff this last weekend. He went to his golf course, as he does every weekend, and I guess he played a round of golf. He had some kind of education gala event Saturday night or something like that. And then he comes back to DC on Sunday. I guess he's just not interested, which is, I think, admittedly strange. First of all, he's known Charlie Kirk for a long time. They had a very close relationship. He has certainly seemed fired up about the fact that Kirk was tragically killed. He's using it to launch this McCarthyism and everything. Plus, Donald Trump just got off of last week saying, oh yeah, no, I'm super Christian now. In fact, everyone should be praying, and yet he skips the vigil. Again, very strange. I thought maybe he had another one of his little health problems that keeps him out of the public eye for a day, but he had the previous event Saturday night. So the whole thing just seems very strange to me. I'm assuming, JR, that he is going to go to the actual funeral, which is gonna happen this week. It would just be too strange if he were to skip that, but I don't know. Am I making too much of the vigil? What do you think?
Absolutely not. You're not making too much of this. This guy is talking about how this was the most important person and part of their whole movement and this greatness of Charlie Kirk and all this talk about how wonderful and great he was. But again, even before he skipped this vigil, this guy ran up to the Yankees game and started doing the YMCA dance. When he was asked how he's doing maybe the day after, he said, oh, I'm doing great. What are you talking about? Look, the Rose Garden is being built. Look, my ballroom is on schedule. Did you understand what I'm doing? The only thing that he'll be upset about when if and when he shows up to the funeral is that he won't be the complete and utter center of attention. He wants the attention on him. That is, if he can stay awake before it's over, because as we've seen him lately, he can't make it through half an hour of anything where he's not the one talking about himself or the accomplishments that he's gonna keep lying to you that he's somehow made. John, you started the show by saying you didn't want many things to be said that are gonna get you off the air. I just wanna point out the celebratory and exploitative nature of the way that they've carried on ever since this happened looks so much like this is their happiest moments, because what their objective, as we've seen from a bunch of guys standing in Huntington Beach to all those guys standing in the middle of whatever city in Britain was doing, is they want to fight. And whether or not someone is in front of them to fight, they don't care. Their objective is violence, savagery. So since it didn't match up for what is exactly they wanted, what's gonna make them not carry out their same plans? We have a midterm election that potentially is upcoming. We need some violence in the streets here so we can hurry up and declare martial law and make sure there's no more elections in this country. We're on schedule here. Let's not let something like this derail us. As a matter of fact, let's make it accelerated.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And it could be both things. There could be many people, maybe a couple million people, who are legitimately destroyed by this. I have a family member of my family who apparently is a big fan of Charlie Kirk, legitimately destroyed. And then that the Republican Party, in terms of the politicians and media, it's all just self-promoters and grifters. So of course they're gonna use this to benefit themselves. The weird thing is that Trump, arguably he could have at least gotten a little bit of attention by going. So the whole thing is very strange. As you pointed out, the way he acted at the Yankee game, the way he acted when he was interviewed, it's very strange behavior considering that you lost someone that you knew years ago. And I always say you could grieve in whatever way you want. I'm not gonna get too down on people for doing that. But if you are at the same time using it to be like, oh yeah, the left doesn't get to exist anymore because I'm so angry, well then I'm gonna have to question your motivations. And by the way, the reason that I'm bringing this up, it's not just because I find it to be interesting. Everybody needs to understand that because we now live in this rock solid MAGA cancel culture, if Donald Trump skipping that vigil bothers any conservatives, whether elected ones in media, regular conservatives, we all need to understand they can't say anything about it, because if they do, their career will probably be ended. That's how speech gets iced out. So we have to raise it for them. It might really bother them that Donald Trump is snubbing the vigil in this way, but they can't say it because that would be the end of their career. The cancel culture cuts both ways.